Hello and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. Djibouti builds peace as a legacy. And on the international scene, 2 Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes on Gaza despite the ongoing ceasefire. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our Newsroom Blood viewers. This morning in Arta, His Excellency the President Mr. Ismail Umar Gedle inaugurated the Memorial of Peace. Arta stands as a symbol of dialogue, reconciliation and Somali peace. The Arta Memorial of Peace is a living symbol of a turning point in regional diplomacy and of Somalia's quest for reconciliation. More than the site that hosted the Reconciliation Conference, the Arta area embodies the birthplace of a major event. The memorial pays tribute to a luminous chapter of history written under the banner of dialogue and the restoration of peace in Somalia after years of chaos and civil war. Under the leadership of President Ismail Umar Gedle, the conference produced a series of negotiations among the various stakeholders aimed at achieving the conference's goal of establishing a government, a result attributed to the president's efforts. The 2000 Arta conference was founded on listening, neutrality, and respect for local actors. Playing civil society and the diaspora at the heart of the process, the Republic of Djibouti demonstrated that a durable solution must come from within the country and not by external imposition. This philosophy of dialogue has since become a recognized hallmark of the Republic of Djibouti on the regional, continental, and international stage. President Ismail Umar Gedle was joined by his Somali counterpart, President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, the country's First Lady and President of the National Union of Djiboutian Women, Mrs. Khadra Mahmoud Haid, also attended the inauguration ceremony of the Memorial of Peace as part of the 25th anniversary celebrations of the 2000 Arta Somali Reconciliation Conference. On their arrival, President Gelle, accompanied by Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud and First Lady Khadra Mahmoud Haid, were warmly received by the Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, Speaker of the National Assembly Delita Mohammed Delita, the Minister of Justice and Prisons in charge of Human Rights Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, and the Minister of Energy in charge of Natural Resources Mr. Yunus Ali Gedi. Alongside the Somali President, the grand ceremony saw the participation of distinguished guests from the region and abroad, including the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. After the two national anthems, the presidents jointly proceeded to inaugurate the memorial. The monument is at once austere and majestic. Built on the heights of the town, it opens into a broad esplanade overlooking the valley, a symbol of openness to the future. At its center, a bronze flame preserves the memory of dialogue, while an exhibition hall accounts the stages of the Arta process through documents, images, and testimonies. It should be emphasized that this Djibouti-led initiative, supported by the international community, remains a model of political dialogue and Arab-African reconciliation. President Ismail Omar Gelle and Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud then toured the memorial dedicated to the war and peace in Somalia, underscoring the historical ties and the shared pursuit of regional stability between the two nations. The facility is designed as a site of memory and education on Somalia's recent history. It comprises several galleries, each devoted to a crucial aspect of the conflict and the peace process. The rooms chronicle in detail the successive events and contexts of the Somali War, offering a comprehensive perspective on the periods before and after the Arta Peace Conference. A decorated wall highlights the personalities who made significant contributions to organizing and achieving the conference, paying tribute to those who worked for reconciliation. The memorial integrates modern tools for full immersion, a presentation hall where historical information is conveyed didactically, and an immersive room that provides visitors with an interactive and profound profound experience to better understand the realities of the conflict and the hopes for peace. The joint visit by the two heads of state carries strong symbolic weight, reaffirming Djibouti's and Somalia's commitment to honor the past while building a future of durable peace and cooperation. Inside the ceremonial tent, a measured solemnity blended with moments of visible emotion. Cameras and press badges clustered near the front. Occasional murmurs hushed as speakers took the podium, while applause punctuated statements of tribute and remembrance. Between speeches, soft regional music and the rustle of program pages filled pauses, a key moment, the lighting of the memorial flame, the playing of the anthems. The crowd rose in unison. The overall tone was reverent and hopeful, marked by handshakes, quiet conversations among regional leaders, and the respectful attention of civil society representatives present for the commemoration.
sidoo kale marka hore salaaniyo su'aaligu abooniyo waxaan ku sidaa wali tanadi sokeeyeho maantana sidoo kale marka hore salaaniyo su'aaligu abooniyo waxaan ku sidaa wali tanadi sokeeyeho
silsiladii guushuba sinaanta u qalbsato siinkaha waxa loogu dhacay inaan dhibka sama baxne waa la arkay sama wado ku seexo inaan ku ahay ku seexo inaan ku ahay silsiladii guushuba sinaanta u qalbsato siinkaha waxa loogu dhacay inaan dhibka sama baxne waa la arkay sama wado ku seexo inaan ku ahay ku seexo inaan ku ahay
siduu isagu hore u sheegay ilayn sidigaama maydhmo ilayn sumadaamaad gurto afkaagu ilayn ma suulo sokeeya ilayn ma gaaro bulshada ka sidnaasaadaan kadib sadrigiyo qalbiga sokeeyow naga guddooma siduu isagu hore u sheegay ilayn sidigaama maydhmo ilayn sumadaamaad gurto afkaagu ilayn ma suulo sokeeya ilayn ma gaaro bulshada ka sidnaasaadaan kadib sadrigiyo qalbiga sokeeyow naga
The representative of the Arab League conveyed the organization's deep respect for the people of Djibouti and for all Somalis who participated in the Arta 25 years ago. He said Arta had demonstrated that dialogue, inclusivity, and patient diplomacy can restore the foundation of statehood, and described the Memorial of Peace as a pledge to future generations to resolve disputes through conversation rather than violence. He affirmed the Arab League's readiness to support initiatives that strengthen institutions, protect civilians, and promote sustainable development in the Horn of Africa, and renewed the League's commitment to partnership in pursuit of lasting peace. The representative of the Islamic organization emphasized peace as a central value and shared by communities across the region. He praised the Arta conference as a landmark example of regional solidarity and respect for local leadership, and called for continued cooperation to heal the wounds of conflict. He announced that the Islamic organization would mobilize humanitarian support, back reconciliation programs, and promote initiatives that empower civil society, women, and youth as pillars of a resilient Somali state. Later on, speeches delivered by the representative of the United Nations and the Secretary General of IGAD both delivered in English. Let's listen to them.
Foundations laid at Arta, subsequent processes in Eldoret, Mbagati, Djibouti again, Garowe, and Mogadishu gradually built the federal Somali architecture we know today. They paved the way for the 2012 Federal Provisional Constitution as the cornerstone of Somalia's state-building process, and which enshrined the principle of one person, one vote elections, toward which Somalia continues to strive. Since Arta, Somalia has made notable progress in reviving state institutions, strengthening national security, restoring fiscal discipline, elevating the participation of women, youth, and civil society, and ensuring that Somalia's voice is heard in multilateral fora. Let us congratulate His Excellency President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, other distinguished Somali leaders, current and former here today, and the people of Somalia for these remarkable achievements in the past 25 years. Somalia today is no longer defined by old limitations, but rather by the strength and resilience of its people and their aspirations toward national reconciliation, institutional development, broader citizen participation in inclusive political processes, and lasting peace through an end to the threat posed by Al-Shabaab and ISIS. In the current Somali context, the lessons of Arta remain profoundly relevant, that all Somali communities matter, that patient dialogue offers a path to enduring solutions, and that political settlements gain legitimacy through participation and inclusivity.
25 years ago, when much of the world had given up on Somalia, Djibouti did it. When powerful nations failed to find a way forward, the small nation in the IGAD region once again showed that it had the biggest heart. Djibouti opened its doors and said, "Our brothers and sisters are hurting, and we will not turn away." What happened here in Arta in the year of 2000 was an act of great and enduring faith. The faith that dialogue could differ despair. The faith that the Somali brothers and sisters gathered under these trees could achieve what warlords and outsiders could not. Nearly 1,000 delegates came not with guns here, but with genuine grievances, hopes, and a firm belief that their country deserves better. And they delivered. They gave us Somalia the transitional national charter, the first constitution written by the Somalis, for Somalis and on Somali soil in nearly a decade. They created and delivered a parliament where, for the first time since the Civil War began in 1991, none existed. And it was also an inclusive parliament. The women of the Sixth Clan did not just participate, they organized, they claimed their places as a mothers of what was then bruised and bittered and broken nation. They played their role in healing Somalia.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs highlighted Djibouti's historic role as conveyor and mediator in the Horn of Africa, describing the Memorial of Peace as a tribute to diplomats, civil society, and citizens who chose dialogue over division. Next up, the chairperson of the African Union Commission honored those who contributed to the Arta conference and stressed the continent's responsibility to protect the legacy through support for inclusive governments and the rule of law.
As we commemorate Arta, let us recall its most enduring lessons. Lasting peace requires every voice to be heard. The future of Somalia depends on the continued inclusion of all branches of the Somali society: youth, women, minority clans, civil society, and the diaspora must be part and parcel of the nation-building process. The African Union, therefore, urges all Somali citizens to embrace dialogue over division, consensus over competition, and unity over fragmentation. When people are genuinely included in shaping their destiny, peace becomes not just a document, but a lived reality. As we look to the future, I'm filled with optimism. The spirit that animated Arta 25 years still lives in the heart of the Somalis. Somalia today stands on the cusp of a new chapter, one defined by reconstruction, reconciliation, and renewal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the African Union reaffirms its unwavering solidarity with the government and the people of Somalia. May the legacy of Arta continue to inspire all Africans, no matter how high we should climb, no matter how far we should go. It is always worthy to try our level best for the sake of peace. Let this commemoration renew our faith in the power of African unity, leadership, and resilience.
President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud expressed pride and deep emotion at returning to Arta, the town where Somali's Third Republic was founded, to mark the 25th anniversary of the Arta Reconciliation Conference. He thanked participants and paid tribute to President Ismail Omar Guelleh, the people of Djibouti, and Somali actors who contributed to the conference success, recalling extensive consultations with civil society before the conference opened. He remembered fallen Somali figures who played decisive roles in the year 2000 and welcomed the presence of the parliament member Ali Abdi Farah, a key actor in the historic Congress. The Somali president noted that Arta represents a glorious page in Somali history, highlighted Djibouti's continued engagement over the last 25 years, including the sacrifices of the Hilwalal Battalion with the African Union Mission, and praised the continuity of support that helped bring about the creation of the Third Republic, a renewal that, he said, offers hope to the nation. The president opened his address with the traditional invocation greetings, noting the date and place, Djibouti 30 October 2025. He expressed gratitude to God for permitting a renewed gathering at Arta while observing that the circumstances today differ from those in the past. His Excellency recalled the difficult context in which he assumed leadership in 1999, when the region and the world were passing through a turbulent and uncertain period. He said that although Djibouti had been asked to provide leadership at a time of limited strength, this did not obscure the scale of destruction that had befallen Somalia, a brother nation once closely linked by shared history, and the deep wounds left by years of conflict. The president described the situation as a decade-long wound without beginning or end, and said the clan warfare and the collapse of state institutions in Somalia had been a calamity felt beyond its borders. He noted that earlier peace efforts that had started in Djibouti a decade before had not succeeded in restoring a functioning state. He recalled the questions they asked then. Had the best of the Somali people been exhausted? Had the world's conscience hardened towards the Somali cause? Has neighboring states, after many attempts, some counted as many as 16, became discouraged and stepped back? The president reported that Djibouti appealed to the United Nations General Assembly in September 2000 to awaken the conscience of the international community and to highlight the risks posed by the ongoing anarchy and clan conflict in Somalia. He said their appeal surprised some, but it was met with acceptance and pledges of support for the reconstruction efforts that followed. He said that appeal became a rallying call whose impact reached Somalis everywhere, and that a positive response, both practical and moral, came from Somali regions and the diaspora alike. Civil society groups, academics, clan elders, women's organizations, and universities, he said, offered generous praise and support, which encouraged Djibouti to fulfill the commitments it had made. Reflecting on why earlier conferences had failed, the president explained that a key problem had been the lack of coordination among external states engaged in Somali peace efforts. He said it was necessary to unify those efforts and focus them in a single direction. His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Gelle also outlined the inclusive outreach they launched to Somali civil society, religious scholars, clan elders and traditional leaders, intellectuals, women's groups and youth, and described the process of consultation, planning, and reconciliation that addressed governance, sought forgiveness, and avoided foreign interference. Every detail, he said, was examined carefully. Following that process, envoys were selected, rules were established, and a provisional constitution and complete government were declared. The move, he said, was celebrated and widely noted as the beginning of Somalia's return to international life.
wax si fudud ku yimid maaha waanad ogtihiin inta hawl loo soo maray intaas uun maaha ee Soomaaliya waxay noqotay xubin firfircoon oo xiriirka adduunka saameyn weyn ku leh dunidana kalsoonidii xanaanaysa maalinba maalinta ka dambaysa.
In the second part of his address, His Excellency the President, Mr. Ismail Omar Gelle, recalled that the elected head of state at the time, Mr. Abdul Qasim Salad Hassan, was welcomed by representatives of IGAD, the African Union, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the Arab League, delegations that helped pave the way for Somalia's long-awaited return to its seat at the United Nations. He paid tribute to all who had played indispensable roles in convening in the Arta Conference, and he remembered with respect those who had since passed away, invoking God's mercy for them. Turning to the president said that in marking the ARTA Governance Conference anniversary, it was appropriate to ask whether the goals set then had been achieved. He judged that by many measures they had. Somalia had restored state structures, re-engaged with the international community, reclaimed its seat at the UN General Assembly, and he said had grown into a more active and trusted participant in global affairs. He stressed that these gains were the result of sustained effort. Addressing Somali youth, the president declared that the future belongs to them and urged them to shoulder their responsibilities for peace and prosperity. He warned that the mistakes of past generations and clan-based grievances must not stand in the way of a brighter future, and he called on young people to be the architects of positive change rather than offer excuses for inaction. To the Somali diaspora, he expressed appreciation for their adaptation abroad and for their contributions to national rebuilding. He urged them not to deepen divisions, but to channel their skills and knowledge into supporting a united and peaceful Somalia and to promote the country's reputation and aspirations. To current and former Somali leaders, the president reminded them of their country's suffering and urged patience and mutual conscience. He appealed for collective effort to safeguard statehood where once he had asked for help. He now asked leaders to help one another and to protect the gains of governance. Before closing, the president offered a brief explanation of the initiative that inspired the memorial and the institutions established in its name. He described the Arta Peace Conference as a pivotal moment in the nation's history and said it had motivated the creation of the Arta Peace Institute. The institute, he explained, will be an open forum for peace, a research center, a venue to refine policy, and a platform for cultivating knowledge and capacity. He said that the Institute will preserve and study the principles and practices of peace building that emerged from Arta, distilling lessons that can serve as standards and guardians whenever needed. He portrayed the Institute as a hub for interstate relations and a symbol of the culture of dialogue and preemptive conflict resolution. He concluded by invoking divine guidance and signed the address as a brother and president, His Excellency, Mr. Ismail Omar Gelle.
وحوض قبسجينه هالنولادو هرو مركينه هالنولادو والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Shifting gears towards the international scene now, where 2 Palestinians were killed Thursday in an Israeli airstrike targeting the town of Beit Leha in northern Gaza, despite the Israeli army's announcement that the ceasefire restored early in the morning remained in effect. The Israeli military said it conducted a targeted airstrike against a terrorist infrastructure where weapons were being stored that were intended to be used immediately against Israeli forces in the state of Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Thursday the conclusion of a preliminary trade agreement with China covering reciprocal tariff reductions and guarantees on the export of rare metals from China. He stated that relations between Washington and Beijing are currently excellent. According to the U.S. President, the agreement provides for a mutual reduction of duties of around 10% and includes a 1-year commitment by Beijing on the export of rare metals, which are essential to technology and defense industries. Hurricane Melissa struck the Caribbean, affecting Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas with winds reaching 150 kilometers per hour. Jamaican authorities declared a state of disaster after significant damage to infrastructure and widespread power outages. Thousands of residents were evacuated to shelters. Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you.